What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar. We are going to talk about Bitcoin today again. Being that today, technically on today's chart, we did hit a new all-time low. Let's just check it out. BTC USD. It was yesterday. Very technically, very literally, it was yesterday. But I'm pretty sure, or maybe it was. Okay. Never mind. Ignore what I said. Yesterday was the all-time low, not today. Okay. These new daily candles, they start at 6 o'clock where I'm at, so that kind of that throws things off. But it did happen yesterday. Okay, so anyways, we're at new lows right now, and we're getting a little bit of a bounce. Yesterday we had a 3% drop. Today we're already at a 2.98% pump. We're in good shape to bounce out of this low zone here. I think we're in pretty good shape to do that. So I don't think that this is the low. Maybe it's a low of a range. I don't think it's the low though. Um, you know, if we were to do, let's see, where's that damn button? Replay right here. If we were to replay all the way up to here, right? You can see that this kind of looks like a bearish pennant, right? We've got this here. Oh, maybe we can tighten it up even a little bit. Something like that. Then we've got this here, something like that. We're in a bearish pennant. It looks like it, clear as day. But if we get rid of, or I mean, if we let the days play out, it looks like we broke out of it, right? Bearishly. Let it go again. Looks like we broke out of it bearishly. It looks, if we were to play this like a pattern that it is, we would measure from top to bottom here. We would take this measurement and put it at the breakout point, which happened to be at the apex, and then that would be our measure move. We don't have to achieve this. Just because we've broken out does not mean we have to achieve this, because what else have we done? While this is what it might look like we're doing, it might have psyched a lot of people out because it was the obvious move. It was something that people are probably looking for. If we just let this play out, really what we've done is we've just formed a base. We've formed a base. That's it. Formed a base in a range that is still declining. Could we come back up to around $16,700? Yes, we could. We could come up around there. I would be surprised if we went too much higher than this green line. It wouldn't surprise me if we went higher than it. We could go higher than it. It could be, we could be, I don't know. It could be like something like this. It could be like that kind of a decline. It doesn't have to be as extreme as this angle. It could be more relaxed. It could be more like this angle, and that, as this line moves up, that allows the price to move up too. And as we've seen before, it can go out of this range. It doesn't, anyways, this is just a rough idea. It wouldn't surprise me to see this day close with a bullish engulfing candle. Psych a lot of people out, get a lot of people thinking that might have been the low. We just double bottomed, blah blah blah. It double bottomed, by the way. If that was the double bottom on a weekly, on any scale, if that was on a weekly or a daily scale, if that was a double bottom, we're kind of in no man's land. That low quite literally happened where? Like, you tell me, like it doesn't exist anywhere that really matters. Is that essential though? Is that essential? I don't think it is. That could have been the bottom, but I don't think it was. But I want to say, I've been talking about this zone a lot. How this looks obvious. This $13,870 zone. Obvious for two reasons. One, you've got this big wick from the low to the middle of 2019 rally right there, that big pre-COVID rally that we had. And then also on the monthly, this same line lines up directly with the monthly candle close, the highest monthly candle close that we saw all the way up until, basically till November of 2020. So for like 2 years standing there, that was the highest candle close. This line comes directly in contact with this point and this point. So To me, that is a fair bottoming zone. That's where we could expect the price to bottom. That's where I'm expecting price to bottom, at least on a closing basis. We could go lower than this on a wicking basis. I doubt we go below 10 grand on a wicking basis. Yes, we could close at 13,800 on a monthly basis, but still go down to 10,000 on a wick basis. It's possible. If I say basis one more time, take a drink, take a smoke, whatever. Anyways, I want to point some other things out. Let's just look at all the bottoms in history. We do that a lot. We do that a lot when trying to identify the bottom, okay? So let's do that a lot. Or let's do that. Draw a bottom here, right? The line. This, on a monthly scale, this is in no man's land. You know, the next possible support would have been like somewhere down here. You've got wicks, you've got multiple months closing, moving sideways here. Maybe even down here, right? Where this first like high was before we went low, before we had a shit that sent us up. This is kind of in no man's land. If we look at it on the daily, we go all the way back. We go all the way back. Let's just see here. It's going to take a second, but we should be able to get it. Yeah, on the daily, you know, where this bottomed, in comparison to the rest of like this uptrend, it didn't really bottom anywhere. It's like right in the middle of this move. It's kind of in no man's land. If we go, let's just keep it on the daily. Why not? If we go to this bottom here, let's just see. It's in no man's land. I mean, really. Like, it has a little support off of this, really, but like you would have expected this to be more significant, or areas like this to be more significant if you were going lower. But it had a fake out, you know, that was a V bottom right there. We went up, came back down again, found this low here. This was in no man's land as well. I mean, show me any significant price history for either of these, really, that dictates that this would be a bottoming zone. I don't see it. Sure, if we go here, I guess this second line on a closing basis, these lines are actually tied, like quite literally tied. So that kind of makes sense a little bit, you know. But this time right here, all you're doing is confirming this as significant. There's which by the way, this significant zone was made no man's land. So anyways, I digress. Moving on. This is kind of in the early days of Bitcoin. It's 2013, so you know, price discovery is kind of a thing. We're finding what points are significant. It might not be dictated so much that we have to go down to areas of relevance. We can just kind of find relevance wherever. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Go to the next low here. Let's go to the next low. Let's see. Here it is, right here. And on a daily scale, we can see that this low kind of made sense. It kind of made sense. For the first time, we actually see something that kind of makes sense. You know, I think what would have made the most sense would have been to find support here, which we did. We found support on the previous high and then went up. But once we broke it, to me, the next area of support should have been like somewhere, I mean, I guess right there, but we chose this little tip as the place of support. This one little bit right here, this one tiny little blip on the whole chart is exactly where we found support twice and confirmed it as support. So a semi-significant zone so far, that's the most significant that we got on a bottom. Everything else has kind of just been in no man's land, whatever. And this, by the way, of all the peaks, does that peak look the most significant? I mean, in my opinion, no. That one does. Or like even if we were to take it, you know, maybe on a closing basis, if we, let's see, if I was to find a line that's kind of significant, I mean, that to me doesn't even do it. This line right here seems to me more sufficient. You get support on it over here. It's resistance, resistance, resistance. You're getting held down by it. You kind of had a fake close above it and it got rejected immediately. There's a little bit of resistance in this area here. There's resistance there. I don't know. This line to me makes a little bit more sense. Maybe it made sense to a lot of people, and that's why this line up here is the one that got respected. It got front ran. I have a point with all this, I swear. I'm just trust me. We're almost there, guys. We got 2 more bear markets to go through. So this right here is the 2018 rally. End of 2017, we topped off at $18,000, $19,000. Actually, $19,800 was the top. We found a low that we held for, let's see, I mean, this low here was in 2018 of February. We didn't break that for, I mean, basically 8 months. if we drew a line there at this low, we can see later we found significance on it. But previously, what's the point of this? Like, where, it's nothing that is significant. It's kind of in no man's land. What would have made more sense would be to bounce right down here or something like that, or maybe at this top here. But even those aren't really that significant, but we kind of just chose a point and bounced off. It seems to be a reoccurring theme in Bitcoin land. I'm going to take this line and put it at the bottom here. This is for the lows. We go all the way back. Okay, there's this one little like pit stop down here. There's some high points here, but wouldn't it have made more sense? Wouldn't it have looked better if we bottomed off of this line, off of 2,974? Well, again, just like the time before, maybe we got front ran. Maybe that price was to be expected. So there was so much buying pressure down here that we couldn't even achieve that price. Maybe. Nonetheless, where Bitcoin technically bottomed, this is technical analysis after all, where it bottomed, is kind of in this no man's land. It's not anywhere that's specific, that's like pinpoint on. The only one so far that's like been pinpoint on is this bottom, the 2015 bottom, because again, remember, it tipped right off of this little high here. Everything else has kind of been in the middle of no man's land. It's been in areas, it's been near areas of significance, near them, but not directly at them. We didn't get a direct bounce off of them, right? And that's kind of my point right now with this drop, with this low. Okay, that's my all that to say that, and we're going to go on the weekly basis here, what would make sense, what would look nice, a nice bottom, what would make sense to me would be this peak right here. Why? Again, I started the video saying, well, we got the wick there on a weekday, monthly basis, whatever. That's the high of this little rally. And then we got the monthly close, right? That kind of makes sense. That lines up. But when has Bitcoin ever bottomed at a point that actually made sense? Like really, truthfully. I mean, it like kind of right here, in the 2015 rally. If I put this on the daily scale, you would see that one little blip. And here we do have that one little blip again, but with the closing basis, I expect people are probably watching this zone. They're probably watching it like a hawk. So it's then possible to think of two aspects that could come to fruition. The first aspect, as we've seen before, Bitcoin could front run, instead of going down to a point of support and resistance, it leaves a little gap there. You can see it, this little gap in between the line. Doesn't quite hit the line, and there's so much buying pressure down there. People are all expecting to buy in this zone, and there's so much buying pressure down here that it never actually hits the line. It doesn't, because there's too many people buying. So technically, you could count this as finding support on this line, but there's so much buying pressure. They call this front running. People are buying before it's even getting to that line or through that line, and then we go up. As a result, could we be doing something? Could we be doing that right now? Could we be front running this line? Could we go a little lower and still call it front running? Yes, we could. We could go down to 15,000 and still be front. I mean, technically that line's at 13,870, so we could go down to the 14,000s, not even touch that line, and we would still be front running it. Could we do that? Yes, it's possible. It's possible, and I mean, from history, we've seen that happen twice. It's even likely, maybe. What's less likely, but equally possible? Maybe not equally as possible. It's possible as well, but it's less likely, in my opinion, would be that this line is going to be disrespected. That is just a stopping point. You know what I mean? That we're going to disrespect it and find support somewhere down here. I don't know. As I'm saying that, I'm kind of like feeling like, hold on now, that might be more likely. I don't know. I really don't know what's going to be more likely, honestly. We could find support on a line like this. But again, what I'm trying to get at, the main point that I'm trying to get at, I'm getting distracted here, is that I don't care how nice the lines look. Okay? This line looks nice because, well, you've got a close here, you've got a little bit of resistance here, you find support on it here on a closing basis, and then you're off to the races. It kind of looks nice. But when really in Bitcoin's history, other than the 2015 bull market, have any of the lows made sense? When have they been perfect? None of them. None of them have, really. Like literally none of them have. They're always bottoming in areas that are not expected. So if everybody, and I hear it all the time, I mean, everybody, we're all in our own echo chambers. I know everybody has different media that they follow, different influencers that they follow, but most people that that I follow in crypto and that I talk to, that I listen to, that the people that I talk to in Discords and stuff like that, they talk about $10,000 being the price. Everyone talks about $10,000 being the price. And it makes sense. $10,000 is a psychological level, right? It's a nice round number. We like to see that. It would make sense to find support off it. We found resistance off it before, We found support on it before. It would make sense to go there. But when has Bitcoin ever bottomed at something that makes sense? It would make sense to go to 13,800 for a couple of reasons. But when has Bitcoin ever bottomed to something that makes sense? You know, if we measure from the bottom to the top here, the 50% line is actually right there at 14,682. And if we bounced off of this line, if we bottomed right there on that line, that would be very strong for Bitcoin. That'd be really good. And I have been forecasting that we would find a bounce off this line. It's not common to find a bounce on the 0.5, but when you do find a significant move on the 0.5, you get significant moves off of it. Significant, if you respect it with significance, you will find a move that is significant as well. That's all I'm trying to say. So, and this, if we bounce right there, that leaves a little gap between this purple line that would be the expected low. Leaves a little gap there, just like we've seen previously, actually technically in the last two bear markets, the last two bear market lows. So all this to say, guys, this is a long drawn out, not really that long, but this is a video over explaining how the bottom will probably not be perfect. It's probably not going to be what I could, if I could guarantee the bottom at all, what I would guarantee is that it will not be what anybody's calling it to be. It'll be close. It'll probably be close to a few people's calls or maybe many people's calls. It'll be close, but it won't be precise. It won't be pretty. It won't be perfect. It's just going to do what it wants to do. Ultimately, that's what's going to happen. And with all the negative media coming out, with all the hysteria to the downside, people talking about, I mean, I remember before we broke 17K, I remember the idea that we were going below 10,000 was kind of a joke, but now there's people who are seriously talking about prices below $10,000. There's a lot of noobs in the space that are generally worried that we're going to go below $10,000. That to me gets me excited. That to me tells me that we're at the bottom of the market. You know, even if we identify, we use my not my, but the 5-wave theory, the 5 impulse wave theory that we've identified, this 5-wave pattern, you know, no matter how we cut it, if this is the bottom or this isn't the bottom, maybe it goes lower, maybe it doesn't, whatever, regardless, in this pattern, this 5-wave pattern, we're in the 5th wave right now. We're in the 5th wave right now, which means we're in the very last leg of the pattern. It's the last leg. We might not be at the bottom, but we're close. We're close, guys. We are very close. There's no denying it. And I say close, it could be months. It could be months, man. And how many months? It could be 2 months. It could be 6 months. I don't know. Much past 6 months, I'd be surprised if we kept heading lower after that. But it could be. It could be. You know, who really knows? Nobody knows. Anyone who pretends to know, they're just pretending. Identify that. But what I'm trying to say, guys, what I'm really trying to say is the bottom will likely not be perfect. And as much as I would love, as much as this line here makes sense to me, this area makes sense. You got closings right here, you know, and it holds this line for a long time, closing period wise. Like this line makes sense for more than 2 reasons, more than 3 reasons even. That is precisely why the bottom will probably not be at this line. If we go to this line, if we do go to it, I would anticipate that we will go lower. If we get really close to it and we turn around and we come back up to like these prices, if we come like really close to it and then we come back up to like prices above 16K, I bet we found the bottom. I bet we did. Because close is close. It doesn't have to be perfect. And in fact, likely from what we've seen, what we just went over, it will not be perfect. It will not. The odds of it being perfect are worse. In fact, it's never happened. This is a bear market where a lot of things that have never happened are beginning to happen. But I don't think a perfect bottom is going to be one of them. There's more eyes watching Bitcoin now than ever before. Front running is probably going to be a thing. Panic selling is probably going to be a thing. And with front running, you know, comes the inability to reach targets. with panic selling comes the ability to over exceed targets. So I really don't know yet. We're close to this line. I don't think we're close enough yet. We could have been. This could have been the bottom yesterday. We could have gotten a kind of weak ass double bounce. I don't think we did. I think what we're going to do is we're probably going to engulf this today. A lot of people are going to say, "Oh, we double bottomed. We double bottomed." We might move sideways for like a week or something, or slowly climb up for a week, maybe 2 weeks. Who knows? Going into December, and then we'll probably have another dump down, probably something like that. In December, I do expect us to have some sort of a rally. So I guess that doesn't line up with what I'm saying too much, but I do expect. I mean, every December. Let's just check it out real quick. I was wondering this yesterday. I don't know if it's true, but let's just see. Um, every single December. Let's see here. October, November. So this December was actually red. That was a red December. Bad example. Bad example. This December was green. And 2019's December. Here, I think I can actually remedy this. Maybe. Cyclic lines. There we go. So now this is on every December period. Now those lines are on every December that's ever existed. So let's see. We've got one red, one green, two red, three red, two green. So 3 red, 2 green so far. 3 to 3. 4 to 3 on the green side now. 4 to 4. 5 to 4 on the red side. 5 to 5 tied. 6 to 5 on the green side now. And 7 to 5. So there's been 7 green months and 5 red months. More importantly, I mean, other than this first little couple years that we had Bitcoin available, it seems that we are so technically from that statistic, we're more likely to have a green December than a red December. But 7 to 5, it's not really a whole lot of data to go off of. And in fact, what we can see is we got 2 reds here in a row. I think that's the most reds that we've gotten in a row before. 2 reds, then a green. We got 2 greens in a row, then it became red. 2 reds in a row, then it became green. And then it went from green to red. And that's kind of what I'm looking at more, is that we could do 2 red Decembers in a row. We could have 2 red Decembers in a row. We could also alternate back to a green December, because that's kind of what we've been doing recently. We haven't been, it hasn't been one way or another. I thought going into this, I'm not gonna lie, I thought going into this that December was gonna be more of a green month, but it's not. There normally is a Santa Claus rally in December. I'm not gonna go looking into that too much. Let's just see if we had it last year. I mean, this was December right here. Very boring month. We had 1 week where we pumped 8%, and that was Christmas week. So generally, there is a pump during Christmas week. They call it the Santa Claus rally. Let's just see here. Let's go back. This would have been Christmas week here. That was a 26% pump. 2019, I said I wasn't going to do it, but we're doing it. 2019, Christmas week, we actually did not have a pump at all. We moved sideways, but a couple weeks after that, we did pump. 2018, December, we did not have a pump that week, but the week before we had a pump, 23%. There are some pumps, whether it's before or after Christmas, there are some pumps that happen, big or small, around Christmas, it seems. And I mean, we topped off in Christmas. That was like Christmas week that we actually started going down, wasn't it? Yeah. Christmas week, we were actually already going down, but we pumped before then. I don't know. Could we have a little pump before Christmas or after Christmas in December? I think so. But it probably, just given everything that we're looking at so far, it probably won't be that miraculous. There will be a lot of people talking about the Santa Claus rally. We probably will get something that's a little pump. Maybe it's 8%, maybe it's 20%. That's a pretty big pump in a week for Bitcoin, 20%. But what I'm trying to say is, I guess what I'm trying to say right now is I think December might be a red month, but we might get a pump the week before, the week of, or the week after Christmas. And that pump could look something like, I mean, depending on where we've bottomed at, that pump could look something like anything below this point here, anything below 17,585. If we go above this point, I don't know. That would be a strong inclination that this wave 5 is done, that we're no longer in a wave 5. And if we're not in a wave 5, that doesn't mean it's off to the races yet. We can still move sideways for a bit. We could even move lower. It's possible. But if we want to see this wave 5 continue, we want to hold this purple line as resistance. We don't want to go above it. And we could see something like that where we come up and then we come back down. And wouldn't you know it, I didn't even mean to, but this yellow line literally is like drawn to the day, like December 26th at the top. We could see something like that. We could see a little hook, you know, we kind of saw it right here. We saw a little hook right there and then dropped, then shit the bed. We could be doing the same thing, you know, it's totally possible. We could be doing something different. I don't know. These are just thoughts. These are opinions. These are my ideas. If you like them, leave a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. If you hate them, leave a thumbs down and write about it. Tell me why you hate it. And let's see. I don't know. That's all I got for you guys, really. That's the main emphasis of today, is that the bottom for Bitcoin will likely not be a perfect target. So I've been drawing all these lines all year, not all year long, but for the past few months, talking about how this is going to be the bottom, how the 0.5, which is at like 14,000 something. Come on now. Let's see here. The 0.5, which is right there at 14,682, that's going to be the bottom, right? Talking about even how the 618 could be the bottom. I would hate to see that. That'd be a very low price, but it could be the bottom. Regardless of where we find the low in Bitcoin, any of these lines, I can't promise you that it's going to touch any of these lines. What I can promise you is that it will bottom around one of these, if not a couple of these lines. It'll bottom around there. And around there could be we go below it and we bottom right here, you know? A bottom could be we come down and we bottom just above this line right here. We could bottom right in between these two lines. But what I don't know where to guarantee that we're going to bottom, but what I can guarantee about the bottom is it won't be perfect. It will not be perfect. In fact, it never has been. It really never has been. There was one time, just once, where Bitcoin kind of had a perfect bottom, and even that wasn't perfect. If we can go back, way back. And that was right here. Because of this little wick up here, and we bounced right off it, remember? This was the only one that was kind of a perfect bottom, because we bottomed at a previous area of resistance. But never before this really have we bottomed. We've bottomed in a zone, a range, an area around it, but never that exact point of resistance or support from the past. And these lines, these are exact points of resistance or support from the past. So I very much doubt that we bottom exactly, precisely 100% on these lines. I do think it'll be around these lines. And to be completely fair and honest, we are around those lines right now. We're around it right now. It's a little higher than I would like to be, but this is sufficient enough with enough volume to call this an area that could be getting front ran. We've been down here for weeks. I think it's been weeks. I mean, since the 22nd, the 9th of November, it's the 22nd now, so I don't know how many days that is, 13 days, it's almost 2 weeks, yeah. You know, that's enough time for people to accumulate, the big dogs to accumulate, say, nope, we're not going lower than this. This would be a really weird bottom, but hey, this is a really weird bear market, man. We had a really weird top that started this bear market. It's weird times that we're living in. Weird shit can happen. And even though this isn't a pretty bottom, I don't think any of Bitcoin's bottoms have been pretty. I don't think any of them. The only pretty one was the 2015 bottom. And not just because it found support on a past line, not just because it found support on this little like area here, but it also double bottomed. Other than that, no bottom has been like really that pretty for Bitcoin. I mean, they look good retrospectively, but when it's going on, like, I mean, if we replay this again, right? Let's see. You know, like looking at it like this, for some people, it was very obvious that this was an ascending triangle. For some people, it was very obvious. I was not one of these people. I definitely thought we were going lower. I thought we were in somewhat of like a stopping point, a consolidation phase, and we were then going to break out and go lower. And I mean, really, looking at it, to me, looking at a chart, Like that kind of looks like what would happen. Like this looks like it would go lower. This isn't an area to bounce. It's going to go at least a little bit lower to this, right? Maybe double bottom. Like I don't know. I would have butchered this bottom call. I would, personally, just knowing myself, I probably wouldn't have called the bottom here. But that's why this time we're trying to be a little bit better. Oops. Get rid of this. And say that the bottom's not going to be perfect. It's really not going to be perfect. It's if we go to this line, I can guarantee you we probably won't. I can guarantee probably. I can say we probably won't bounce off this line. If we do bounce off this line, we're going to probably come back below it and then bounce somewhere around here. It's not going to be perfect. And that's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. This is a long, overdrawn video about how the bottom's not going to be perfect, and just prepare for that, guys. Prepare for that. And that could look like buying now, even, because we are totally in an appropriate zone for wave 5 to be done in that 5-wave count, for the bear market to be done with all the hysteria that's going on and all the negativity that's in the market surrounding it. We are more than, in my opinion, we are more than in an appropriate area for Bitcoin to bottom. Could it go lower? I do think it will. I think it could. I'm waiting for that personally. How much lower? I really don't know. As of right now, I am looking for prices around this point. I would be very surprised if we went below $12,200, but I would be even more surprised to see us go below $10,000. So, really, I mean, that line right there, that's like the last ditch effort. If we went below that, things are bad. I think something's wrong with Bitcoin. But we could go below 14,000, and if we do, I think we might go somewhere like 12,200, somewhere in that area. There's tops here. There's support here. It's kind of a semi-significant area, and that if Bitcoin doesn't bottom at a perfect place with very strong significance on it, it's more likely to bottom in a semi-significant area. In my opinion. All right, that's all I got. Thank you guys for coming. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. Again, leave a thumbs up, subscribe. Appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for all the subscribers that I've got, all 40 of you. You guys are great. I appreciate it. We'll just see how many videos we can make in a week. I'm trying to make a video every single day, but with my job and my child, and we're moving, it's going to be kind of difficult. So, I mean, honestly, for the next couple weeks, and with Christmas coming on, for the next couple weeks, if I don't make videos every day, I'm sorry, but I will get back to making videos every day, probably in a month or so, probably. Thank you guys for coming. I hope you have a wonderful day. Happy Thanksgiving, and take care. See you next time.